Hey guys, we're back on the bench today, and it's gonna be kind of more of a quick video. I just kind of want to talk about some of the Fujifilm recipes that I use. I only use a handful, and I really enjoy the ones I have because it gives me a nice consistent color profile without too much post editing like in Lightroom or anything like that. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first one we'll be talking about is gonna be bright Kodak. It definitely leans more to the warm gold hues with the large grain effect applied to it. I really enjoy the warmth that this film recipe brings to the majority of the photos I take. I use it probably 80% of the time for all my photography needs because I really just love the warmth, kind of vintage vibe to it. It definitely brings out a pop of color when definitely there's like orange or red already in the photo. And it just kind of has like maybe a peaceful but still vibrant look to the photos. Another place I really love that this film recipe kind of brings out is shadows, especially in a warm lighting scenario. As some of the next photos you'll see, I think the shadows have a lot more life to them. It's just not just black and white, or they just have like more of a warmth, even though that they're black and shadowy. One of the areas this Fuji recipe definitely falls flat is in beach settings because all the blue, it just kind of muddles it all together. So the next film recipe is going to be no grain bright Kodak. This will be exact same as the previous one. I just have the grain effect turned off. And it being the exact same formula, the coloring and everything will be the exact same, which I do like because the color consistency is still solid. I use this recipe a lot for my rodeo work because I don't really want the heavy grain effect kind of muddling up the faces or the animals and livestock. And the color profile kind of brings more of a Western feel because I think having more of a gold warm hue to the color profile definitely helps make it feel a little bit more Western because you think of like the desert and the Wild West, and that kind of brings it full circle, if that makes any sense. And it being more of like a bold recipe, it definitely highlights the gold and the reds and the hues of that nature. But there definitely helps even like low light situations like the next few photos. It highlights that brown. It still brings that warmth, as I keep saying, into these photos. Even when the sun is setting, it still helps bring the warmth that the sun would normally bring. The film recipe helps make it still stay and have a nice color profile. This is one of my most favorite photos I've taken while doing my rodeo work so far. I just love all the dust in the air, and the dust still has a warmthness to it. It kind of has the same issue in my opinion as the previous one. Same color profile, of course. We're kind of on a beach scene where there's a lot of blues. It kind of just washes out and it kind of looks muddly. I don't really like the look of it. And on the other hand, sometimes it brings out too much of a red warmth coloring to it, like in this photo right here of a sun during a sunset. Just kind of brings out too much of a warmth and just kind of overwhelms the photo. I wanted to show kind of a difference between the bright Kodak film recipe and just kind of like the standard Provo film simulation. Of course, you can see the Provo is definitely more like real to life, and then with this photo, it brings out more of the orange and then kind of the drabby greens for the bright Kodak. So the last recipe I use is Fluorescent Night. It uses the nostalgic negative as its base film simulation and definitely scales the color profile to more of a blue-green, and it definitely is more of a niche recipe. That's how I necessarily use it. So this film recipe was one of the first ones I actually ever used. I found it on the Fuji X Weekly. I really liked the reference photos he had, and these two photos that we see here were the first time I ever really used it. And it kind of made me really fall in love with photography because it's the first time that I had a set of photos I really liked the look of and the vibe of. Like I said, it's definitely more of a niche film recipe. It's not really good with skin tones or anything like that. But if you find the right lighting, and especially at night, it brings out definitely the grungy, like metro vibe to it. And this recipe has definitely made me start a zine going on with some of this night photography. And I just truly love the look that this recipe brings. And the fact that I don't have to go into like Lightroom or anything like that and mess with coloring and anything like that is fantastic. I can just be in the moment and find the right lighting with this recipe, and it just works great. I also have the bright Kodak and Fluorescent Night on my film or video side as presets, because it's nice to have if I'm like making a video or whatever. It's nice to take a kind of maybe a video of my subject that I'm looking for, film it with the right simulation, and then I can take my photo and then kind of transition into it, and having the coloring be pretty much the same is really helpful, and it's just nice ease. And especially if I'm just doing like a fun video or just practicing editing or something for social media, just the consistency of coloring between the photos and videos is really helpful. And again, I'm not a big fan of coloring or going into post-processing and editing my footage or photos. It just takes time, and it's not what I enjoy. I like being out in the field and taking photos and just being in the moment. Anything besides that isn't what I'm really looking for. So yeah, those are the 3 film recipes that I use 90% of the time. I do occasionally put a new fun one to try out, but I normally stick to those major 3. I try to keep my workflow fairly simple and easy. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you have a film recipe that you think I should try and I might like, please put it in the comments below. And thank you again for watching. Bye.